In this video, we're going to look at replacing the headlight bulbs in this Mark III Ford Mondeo. First thing you need to do is open up the bonnet, and what we're going to do is remove both headlight units completely from the car before we actually replace the bulbs, because they're quite easy to remove and that makes the whole job far easier. The first stage in the removal is to take away this front grille, this plastic grille, which is held in place mainly by these two black screw-in sort of retaining screws, which you undo with a sort of 1/8 turn anti-clockwise, and then you pull them out. And once they're out, the grille itself will come forward and loose. It has little plastic retaining tabs on its bottom edge which keep it in place, so be careful with them. You need to sort of work them free. Now, both headlights are held in place, each with two of these metal push-in retaining rods. And to remove them, you simply grab them at the top by that sort of top tab handle, and you pull them directly upward. Anyway, once they're out, the headlight unit will be free. At this point, you can pull it forward and start to work it out. It usually won't slide directly forward because of the there's a sort of projecting bit at the bottom of the headlight unit which will catch on the bumper, so you need to lift it up at the same time. And then at this point, obviously its electrics are still connected, so once you have access to the electrical plug on the back, you need to disconnect that. To do that, you push down on its tab and then pull out. Again, if it's stuck, it might require a little bit of work to do that. And then you'll have the entire headlight free. Now, the access panel is obviously on the back, and it is held in place with two plastic clips, one at the top, one at the bottom. So you need to push down on the tabs of these clips both at the same time, and it will pop out, especially if you give it a bit of a pull to help it along. If it hasn't been actioned in a long time, then it might require a little encouragement. Just try to be careful not to break the plastic clips. And once it's free of them, you can work it free of the two retaining tabs, which are on the inside of the inside side of the headlight unit. And once all the clips are free, then you still can't pull the access panel away completely, because the plug for the electrics is integrated into it, so all of the wiring still holds it in place. So the best thing that you can do is sort of rotate it 90 degrees, and that will give you access to the bulb sockets, which is what we want, of course. That bulb on the inside side is the high beam. That's an H1 type bulb. And the other one is a H7 type bulb. That's the low beam, and that's the one that I'll show you replacing today, but they're both very, very similar. Now, you should have some latex or nitrile gloves with which to handle the bulbs, obviously the new bulbs, because getting oil on them from your skin is bad and it can lead to premature failure. Now, the first thing we're going to do is remove the electrical connector which is attached directly to the bulb. They can be on there very firmly, so be careful with how you pull on it, because you don't want to go damaging the bulb unit, obviously. And once you've got the plug off, the bulb itself is held in situ with this metal retaining clip, which is a sort of spring-loaded thing. You push it down and then up, and then it will release off its little hooks. And then you fold that clip out of the way, and then the bulb itself will now be free to be removed. So very carefully pull it out. Be careful not to scratch it or touch it with your skin if it's not a failed one and one that you're planning on keeping as a spare. Then obviously you need to get your new replacement bulb. In my case, I'm using these Philips x-tremevision types, which I'm going to do a separate review of. So you grab the new bulb, hold it by its plug, try not to touch it, and make sure you don't scratch it. Carefully insert it into position. Now, you'll notice that the base of the bulb is keyed so that it will only go in the one correct way. So mate it up as you can see shown here. And then you replace the metal clip by folding it back around into place. You push it down and then onto its clips. Make sure that it's secure. And then gently replace the electrical connector. And once we're happy with how the bulb is, we can replace the rear access panel, twist it back into position. push the inside side locating tabs into place first, and then just push it home and the two clips will action on their own. And then we can put the unit back in the car, where reinstallation is the reverse of removal. Reattach the headlight connector plug first. And before you go any further, it might be an idea at this point to turn the car ignition on and turn the headlights on, and just check that the replacement bulb is working as intended. Now, I have done both the bulbs on this car, and you should do both. You should always replace headlight bulbs in pairs, because if one's failed, then the other's going to fail soon. I haven't shown you both sides being done because they're identical. They're just mirror images of each other. There's no need to. And here you can see me doing the left-hand headlight, replacing it. Same as the right-hand one was removed. So you get it back into position. The plastic sockets or brackets on the rear of the headlight unit will line up with the sockets which are on the car's body, and they're what you put the retaining rods through, so you can visually see that. You need to make sure that they're lined up before you go trying to put the rod into place, otherwise obviously it won't work. And once both headlight units are back in place, you can replace the front plastic grille. This is a little bit tricky to replace. You need to get the underside brackets correctly fitted before it'll sit home properly. And it's a little bit difficult to do that because you can't really see them. But once you play around and once you've done it once, it'll be easier to do the next time. And once it is in its correct position, the two plastic retaining screws will go in, and you give them the 1/8 turn, this time clockwise, and it will now be secure. And one reason that you need this to be correctly in line, of course, is that the keyhole for the bonnet goes through the middle of the grille. Okay, so after you've done that, then it really is job done. So good work, and I hope this was helpful for somebody out there. Have fun.